Hello, listeners. This is Kat, and welcome back to Put Your Hands Up Podfics. This will be the continuation of All For You. This will be Part 18, Day 35. Ring, 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 ring. Hello, I am here as a voicemail recording. This is the personal cell number for All Might. If you are calling for business deals or hero work, please call my agency. Please leave a message and I will call back as soon as possible. Beep. Is this the phone number for Yaki Toshinori? Some slight shuffling, a sniffle. Well, it's the phone number written on this paper you gave us, so I hope it is. A shaky breath. Please help us, Yaki-san. Kotaro. A lot more heroes have been contacting us since you stopped by, asking about his mother for this confidential case we can't get any information about. I think he just reached a breaking point with the kids. Another shaky breath and a sniffle. Something terrible happened, and Hana and Tenko are missing. It's been a full day, and they aren't back yet. The woman's voice broke at the end of the sentence. Her words warbled, like she was barely holding back tears. Please find my babies, Yaki-san. Please. Call ended. All Might paced in his office, jaw clenched tight, as he just barely kept his anger in check. Something had happened to Shimura-sensei's family, and this was the 5th time he'd called him. If that bastard didn't pick up. Hello? All for One asked, sounding tired. Who is this? You! All Might roared. Me, All for One sighed. All Might, how lovely to hear from you. How did you get my phone number? All Might seethed. It was on that damn form. Of course it was, All for One grumbled. To what do I owe the pleasure of speaking with you after you so suddenly cancelled our meeting? All for One was lucky they were speaking over the phone, otherwise All Might would have tried to strangle him twice by now. What did you do to the Shimura family? All Might hissed. Nothing, All for One said, having the gall to sound confused. Liar, All Might accused. I know you had something to do with this. I never should have believed you. All Might, I don't have the faintest idea of what you're talking about. All for One sighed. What did you do to Kotaro? All Might shouted. Nothing, All for One said, exasperated. If something happened to or within that family, I had nothing to do with it. I can guess what may have happened, based on what I learned from spying on them for future plans that fell through. But that is all. You can blame me all you like, but I truly have no clue what you are shouting about. What do you mean, guess? All Might asked, gritting his teeth. What? Did you forget? All for One said dryly over the phone. I told you the first time you came to the hospital that Kotaro was abusive. Did you really do nothing about it? Words stuck in All Might's throat. Ice formed in splinters along his spine. All for One laughed. You didn't, did you? How convenient of you to forget. Rage built in All Might's chest. He growled lowly into the phone, creaking next to his ear. You sound like an animal, All Might, All for One said amicably. But really, it's his own fault for taking what he has for granted. What are you implying? All Might forced out. All for One said. Oh, considering you were calling me in such a rage, I would assume something happened. Perhaps he hit one of the children or said something particularly cruel, or what have you. Something terrible happened, and Hana and Tenko ran away. Of course that would be your area of expertise, wouldn't it? All Might snapped. The pain and suffering of other innocent people. Well, it would be idiotic to not understand what drives people to my open arms, would it not? All for One said. Though I suppose they are closed now, he mused. All Might growled, barely holding back from crushing his phone. Well, maybe if you hadn't murdered his mother, he wouldn't have been driven to the same lengths as some of your villains. Oh, really? All for One retorted. Then if my parents hadn't been neglectful, abusive alcoholics, perhaps I would not be a supervillain. Are you going to blame them for my misdeeds? Of course not, All Might snapped. Regardless of what they did, you chose to commit those hideous crimes. Precisely, All for One said. Now, tell me again why I would be at fault for whatever it is that Kotaro did. All Might fell silent. That's what I thought, All for One purred. Besides, I've been a good little boy, haven't left Tanima once, so perhaps you could kindly hang up and do your job. You're a rotten, conniving son of a bitch, All Might snarled. Correct on all accounts, All for One said, amused. But I'm being rehabilitated. All Might ended the call as aggressively as he could on a touchscreen phone and left Might Tower to search for Shimura-sensei's grandchildren. Day unknown. His tummy hurt. Day 36. All Might didn't find Shimura-sensei's grandchildren. They found him. The very next day, in fact. The instant he received the call from Night Eye, All Might left the scene of his last rescue, an evacuation of a burning building, as fast as physically possible. The wind from a one-for-all powered jump blew some things over, but he couldn't bring himself to care. Toshinori's heart pounded in his chest. He landed at Might Agency in record time and made it to his office, where the children were, even faster. "I am here," he shouted, just a little out of breath as he burst through the doors. A high-pitched shriek rang out as a kid-sized to-go cup hit his chest and broke open, soaking him. Panicked footsteps pattered across the floor as the kids hid. Sir Night Eye glared at him. Toshinori laughed awkwardly. He probably could have thought that through better. Still, he looked out across his office, two small, round faces peering out from behind Night Eye's desk. Hana's eyes were narrowed in anger, while Tenko's were wide in awe. "Hello," Toshinori said as he crouched down, holding out a hand slowly and smiling gently. "I'm sorry that I scared you two. My name is—" "You're All Might," Tenko whispered. Toshinori laughed a little. "I sure am," he said, his smile growing into a grin. "You're the big man who came to talk to Mom and Dad about Grandma," Hana said. "I am," Toshinori said, his grin fading a little bit. "If you're some big hero," she said, her voice wobbling on the edge of anger and tears, "then why didn't you come when Dad hit Tenko?" Toshinori felt his blood had turned to ice. The bastard had been right. "I'm sorry," Toshinori said earnestly. "I didn't know." "Then why didn't you come find us? Why did I have to come find you?" she asked, big tears rolling down her cheeks. She looked like she couldn't be older than 7. "I'm sorry," Toshinori said, the words ash on his tongue. "I was looking for you two, but—" "But you didn't!" she shrieked, stepping out from the desk to stomp her foot. "You didn't! So I had to do it all myself. And there were weirdos staring at us and following us on the streets, and we had nowhere to sleep. And we had to run from the sandwich guy because I didn't have any money, but Tenko was super hungry and—" "I'm sorry," Toshinori said, his heart breaking. "I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I didn't find you two sooner. I'm sorry that your father was cruel." Toshinori sat on the floor, trying to keep his body language open and kind. "But you were very brave, and it's okay because you're safe now," he said. "Because you're here," Tenko finished, tears leaking down his face, too. "Because I am here," Toshinori said, nodding. The children sniffled. Toshinori held his arms open. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Tenko rushed into his arms and broke into sobs. Hana held out for a few seconds before joining her brother. Toshinori hugged them close, burying his face in their hair. They smelled of the streets, but Toshinori didn't care. He couldn't help but wonder what Shimura-sensei would think of these brave little kids, of him, of her son. He didn't know. He liked to think that she would be proud of most of them, though. Eventually, the kids pulled away. "I'm hungry," Tenko murmured, rubbing his red eyes and wandering back over to the meeting table, where Toshinori only now noticed some joy dinners from McDonald's were sitting. "You're all wet," Hana complained, poking his chest where the cup had hit him. Thankfully, it seemed to have nothing but water in it. He chuckled. "I am." She poked his chest again, tilting her head to the side. "That's because of me." "That's okay," Toshinori said softly. "I scared you two. You acted very quickly to defend you and your brother. You should be proud." She chewed on her lip, fiddling with one of her pigtails. "But throwing things at people is mean, isn't it? It's villainous," she said. "Like running away from the sandwich man because we didn't have money." "It's not villainous," Toshinori said firmly. "Because you were just trying to eat. Doing what you must to survive does not make you a villain, though if you can avoid it, you should. How about later we go pay the sandwich man back and say sorry, okay?" Hana looked down, tapping her shoes against the floor. "Okay," she whispered, then ran off to eat with her brother. Toshinori smiled as he watched them eat chicken nuggets and play with the free toys. "All Might," Night Eye said from behind him. Toshinori sighed, pushing himself to his feet. "Yes?" "Shimura-san is coming to get his children. He did not sound pleased." Toshinori sighed again. "All right," he said. He had no idea how to feel about Kotaro. He had even less of an idea of how to approach him, or his abuse. By the time Kotaro Shimura barged through his office doors, Toshinori still had no idea what to do. Kotaro stared, his face twisted into a disgusted, hateful expression. "Hana, Tenko, come here, we're leaving," he said. Nobody moved. "No." Toshinori looked over. It was Hana. She was standing up to her full height, in front of her little brother. Tenko had his hand on his cheek, and he was looking down at the ground. "Hana," Kotaro hissed, his eyes narrowing. "Now." He started forward, a hand reaching out. All Might stepped between him and the two children. "Stay where you are, please," All Might rumbled. "Who do you think you are, All Might?" Kotaro hissed. "Another hero set on tearing apart innocent families?" "Your mother was a good woman," All Might said firmly. Kotaro snarled. "She cared about you more than life itself." "Enough of your lies!" Kotaro snapped. "Hana, Tenko, come here now!" "No!" Hana shouted. All Might did not move. "Hana, if you don't come here right now." "Then what?" she shouted, her voice cracking. "Are you going to hit me too?" Kotaro paled, stepping back. Tenko sobbed. "I don't want to go back. I want you to go away," she screamed. "You're mean. You're mean. You made Tenko cry and you hate All Might, and you yell so loud it's scary. And you don't let us play heroes and you told us Grandma was bad, but All Might said she was good and I hate you." "Hana," Kotaro said, shocked and hurt. "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you," she screamed, stomping her feet. Kotaro looked at Tenko. Tenko was curled into himself, hands gripping his hair tightly. He was breathing quickly, his eyes blown wide. "Tenko," Kotaro started. Tenko dove behind Hana, trying to hide his entire body behind his big sister. Kotaro took a deep breath, closing his eyes as he recentered himself. "All Might give them to me. They are my children, and they will come with me when I say so," Kotaro said, attempting to stay cool and professional. All Might stared at him. Hana and Tenko whimpered and sniffled behind him. Memories echoed in his mind. Of Nana. Of all, for one. Of the things he knew shaped them. Children, parents, the cruelty, the kindness of the world. "No," he said. "They don't want to go with you, and I won't make them. Their mother can come pick them up. I think you should leave." Kotaro snarled, his cool demeanor dropping as his face twisted into a snarl. "You can't do this. I am their father." "You hit him." Kotaro stared, his eyes wide. "Leave." Kotaro left. All right, listeners, this concludes All For You, Day 36. Day 37 will be up next. Hope you all are still enjoying. Let me know your thoughts and reactions to everything so far. And as always, thank you so much for listening.